This week, we bring you a Tenet Rewind. We're revisiting an episode that we recorded back in July of 2021 with Jeff Velarde, incredible painter. And we lost Jeff last month, the end of January, and we thought it would be nice to revisit his episode and his interview. Jeff was, like I said, an amazing artist, devoted father, and devoted husband, and he'll be missed very much.
Yeah, and we had just a blast talking to him, and serious
Do you remember
family
that?
man. Yeah,
Yeah, we had a lot of laughs. He had a great laugh.
And you know, his devotion to his family and his love for his wife that he married when he was 18 really like shone through. I mean, he's a great family man. And like you said, he's going to be missed. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I'm glad we're able to bring it back for another listen for people that never been able to listen to it. And, you know, he was my age. I was definitely taken by surprise of hearing his passing. And you and Bill from Bitfactory had talked, and so sad news.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a picture of Jeff, and it's just that picture that's on his, it's on the obituary. And that smile that he's got, you know, or that closed smile, just such a friendly face.
Yeah.
You know,
for sure.
Definitely miss that guy. Would have loved to have been able to talk to him again. But that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Glad we had the opportunity to interview him. Glad Bill turned us on to his work. And if you haven't checked it out, go to the website. You can go to Bitfactory's website or Jeff's website and see the work that he did. Wherever you are, Jeff, Godspeed, and here's the episode. Our guest this week is a phenomenal artist that has a solo exhibition that opens July 16th at Bitfactory Gallery here in Denver, Colorado. His website is jeffvelardefineart.com. That's JEFFVELARDE fineart.com. And you can find him on Instagram at Jeff Velarde Fine Art. Welcome to the program, Jeff. Jeff, how are you?
Doing great. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks
for having you on.
Yeah, thanks for having with us today. Really appreciate it. Where does this journey with art start for you?
Oh boy. You know, it really started early. My parents were both very tied to the arts. My dad was a mosaic artist. He was very talented, but he wasn't really able to sustain a career in it. He had done a few great pieces and wasn't really able to cultivate a career from it and see it through. My mom she ended up going to school and becoming an art teacher. She was a substitute art teacher in Denver Public Schools for about 30 something years. And I would say the biggest influence was my mom, because she was the first person in her family to go to college. She graduated from West High School here in Denver and got a scholarship to Colorado Women's College. And my mom just always had such an interest in the arts and theater. And she was a jazz buff. She had all these great jazz records that she would play for us when I was a kid. And we played the West Side Story soundtrack like probably at least once a week. And so it was really my mom that was a big influence. And then when she was in college, I was really interested in when she was in college. She was an art major. Oftentimes I would go with her to school. She went to Metro in the early days when Metro was a collection of buildings in Denver. And the arts building back then was called the Cherokee Building. It was right there on, I think, 12th and Cherokee. And I would go with her a lot of times to her classes, and I loved it. I would sit in the back, and she would go into these, I think they were art history classes where the professors would show an hour-long slideshow of canvases, left, right. It was a bank of two slideshow projectors, and I just ate it up. I couldn't get enough of it, and I was one of those weird kids in school that always drew on his desk. by the end of the school year, my desk was an eclectic masterpiece, or, well, I wouldn't say masterpiece, but pencil covered the whole thing with drawings. And luckily, my teachers were always very patient. They didn't mind me messing up my desk. So, it was just something that for as long as I can remember since I was a kid, I always had a pencil and a pad, and I was always drawing. I didn't know any other thing. And the blessing / curse carried me through all the way. So
it's cool that your teachers would tolerate that, because I think a lot of times most teachers would be like really like slapping the desk and telling you to stop. And I know like there's a whole thing now of people like they'll go to corporate meetings and they'll doodle, and that helps with their memory. So I wonder if it didn't help you in your class with your drawing on the desk.
I think it did, because all in all, I was a pretty good student. I did pretty good in school. It really did balance the other parts of my education. It always kept me balanced. I guess that's the bottom line for me. It keeps me balanced. If I'm not doing it, nobody wants to be around me. It just keeps me. It keeps me on that Walenda tightrope from falling off. And it's just always been that. And I guess I just have to go with it.
Yeah. Glad you did.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
So how old were you when you were going with your mom to these classes that she was taking at Metro?
It's
at Metro, right?
Yeah, I was at Metro. I was probably about 9 or 10 years old.
Wow.
And it was when it would be during breaks. I don't know how, now that I think about it, how I didn't really miss school. And how did I go to class with her? It must have been evening classes that I went with her. I bet it was, because she was still working at the time. She had gotten her associates at CWC, and then went back to make a bachelor's out of it at Metro. And Metro back then, it was such a small school, and it wasn't geared toward students right out of high school. It was really, at that point, it was really geared for adults going back to get their education. And so, that's probably what it was. Now that I think about it, I was probably going with her in the evenings to those classes. It was just a blast. I just sopped it up and just learned about all these incredible works of art. And the other part of it is that, she would have these huge textbooks from her classes, and I would just sit there and just thumb through color plate after color plate of those paintings. And what's really been rewarding is a lot of those color plates that I would just marvel at. I've gotten to see a lot of those real works of art, and it's just been it's like a dream come true. To me, it's like if, being a big fan of a musician and listening to their music and then being able to go see them live, it's that same thrill. For me, it's even more of a thrill than that, to have taken in these works of art and books, and then to see the real thing. There's nothing like it. It's just it really is a dream come true when you're standing in front of a real Van Gogh or a real Renoir at the d'Orsay in Paris, and you're like, you cannot believe what you're standing in front of. And it's the most thrilling experience, as well as very humbling as well.
Yeah.
You realize, you feel good about what you're doing, but when you see that kind of work, you're just incredibly humbled by real greatness.
Yeah, so. And I seen Warhol's work of Mao Zedong, or
right.
Chairman Mao, and you see in a book or whatever, and you don't really appreciate. I mean, you appreciate it for what it is, but when you see it in person and the size of it,
exactly,
it's just mind blowing.
Yeah,
and when
it doesn't do justice. The pictures in the books don't do justice. Not even begin to.
Yeah, and then the first time I seen John Singer Sargent, who I'm a huge fan of.
I love Sargent.
Down in Colorado Springs, there was a daughter of a executive who was in charge of a mine down in the Springs area.
Oh,
And there's a painting of his daughter, and she could walk right. I mean, I swear to God, she could have walked right out of that canvas. And it was just like, I just sat there and was mesmerized by how beautiful it was. And so, you're right on. It's amazing when you see
Sargent's I agree with Sargent's canvases. That is one artist that just blows me away. The ones that I've seen, you just stand there and you have to stand there for a little while to really take it in.
Yeah, for sure.
So I would say that influence on top of everything, was a big part of wanting to go down this path. I just couldn't think of doing or being anything else. The biggest challenge of that is if you also want to be married and have children, the business doesn't put a roof over your head as an artist. So I ended up going to the Art Institute, and I've worked all these years as a commercial artist. So that's been the way that I've been able to make a living at it in a similar way.
All art related, right?
It's all art related.
So how was your experience at the Institute?
It was good. Overall, it was good. Some of the classes, some of the professors were hit and miss. There were some really good ones. I felt it was a little bit inconsistent, but overall, I feel like I got a pretty solid education, and I think it prepared me for the working world. And in that day, it was, I was learning how to do paste up and work with technical pens. It was right before, I think the first graphics computers were coming into place. I think at that time the Amiga was coming out, and Adobe Illustrator it wasn't going to happen for about another 5 years.
Yeah.
So I started out as a traditional commercial artist, traditional illustration, pen and ink, a lot of illustration classes. So it was a very traditional start, but then it drastically shifted within 5 or 6 years. Mm-hmm. And it was the type of thing where if you didn't get on board, you were not going to continue to work in the industry. So, but it ended up being great as well. Even though it switched over to digital and the computers, I embraced it and loved it, and still to this day really enjoy making a living as a graphic artist. It's still very challenging. It's something new every day. You never know what your workday is going to be. As a matter of fact, my first corporate job, the president, the founder of the company, he came up to me, and when I started working there, I was a punk kid. I was only 20 years old, and he came up to me and he said, "Jeff, you have the best job in this place. You get to do what you love doing every day." And it was very true, and I've really appreciated that all these years.
Are you glad that you came up and before the pre-digital era, that you learned all that stuff, the traditional way of doing stuff? Do you think that kind of gave you a little bit of a leg up because you knew how it used to be done, and being at the ground level of when digital took off?
That's a great question. I think so. I think my timing was, I think I'm very thankful for that timing, because it was right in between. It was right at that bridge between the traditional and this whole new wave that was going to change everything. And I think it was advantageous timing to be at that point career-wise, because everybody was in the same boat when it changed. But what I feel that I got by starting out as a traditional commercial artist is, I think there was more of an emphasis on fundamentals. I think I learned a lot about kerning. I learned a lot about fonts. I learned a lot about composition, layout, color theory. We had drafting class where you had to have perfect lines or your grade would go from an A to a C in a heartbeat. Those were the type of things that I think really prepared me for the real world as a commercial artist. And that's a great question. Thank you.
Looking at some of your work on your website, the one thing that you just nail right on is perspective. And sometimes that's really hard for people to really grasp, is getting perspective just right. But your work is just nails it right on. So you can tell you had a great foundation in drafting and in pen work and all that. So yeah, it's amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's something that I take pride in, really, really trying to get that down. And the times when I kind of miss the mark, I can spot it. There are some of my paintings I will look at and I kind of wince because there will be a few lines out of place, and I look at it and I'm like, oh, but I don't want to go in and overwork it too much.
Right.
So it's that delicate balance.
And sometimes that's good. Sometimes draws interest,
good. Yeah. I meant to do that, like Pee Wee.
There you go. Yeah.
So talk about what you do for your day job. Did you, right out of school, you started working for companies as a graphic designer?
It took a little while. I was, through my art school years, I worked for Denver Public Schools. I came up in Denver Public Schools, and I was one of these kids that worked as a sweeper boy in high school. And as I was going to college, there was this really great guy that ran HR at DPS, and when I graduated high school, he said, "Jeff, I'm going to have a job for you, and we're going to get you through college." So he always had a job for me. In fact, they named a school after him. He was just a great guy. And he always had a job for me to adjust to my college schedule. So as soon as I finished the Art Institute, I was still working for Denver Public Schools as a custodian for about 6 months. About 6 months after I graduated art school. And then I was really lucky. My brother-in-law and my sister-in-law, they got me connected with my first real job. And I thank God every day for that, because that was really where it all began. And I like to think that a person's talent and skills is what gets them in a place. That was definitely a situation of who I knew, and I'm very thankful that happened. And they got me a part-time job as a paste-up artist. So when I first started, I was working in the mornings as a paste-up artist from 8 to 12. And then I was working still as a custodian from 1 to 11. So I did that for about 3 months. And then they kept throwing up on so many of I was pasting up brochures for my company, JD Edwards. And there were so many brochures that they wanted to get done that after that 3 months, they agreed to take me on as a full-time employee. Nice. So I was finally able to transition and end my career as a custodian for Denver Public Schools and start on what would be the rest of my working life as a commercial artist. So it worked out great. Like I say, I'm just so thankful for how that all ended up. And JD Edwards was a real special place to me. I ended up working there for 4 years, and then my wife and I moved to California in 1988. We came back 2 years later, and I was able to get back on with JD Edwards again, and I continued to work for them for another 12 years after that.
Yeah. So, it's one thing to get the job. And like you said, you nailed it. Sometimes it's who you know, but you got to perform, and to keep the job, that's where the rubber meets the road, right? You got to be able to produce.
Very true. I was a really hard worker. I would stay crazy hours. I did a few all-nighters. I was very devoted and worked really hard. At the time, my wife and I had already been married. We were high school sweethearts. We got married very young, and by that point, we already had 2 kids. So I had to chug it pretty hard. I had my family to take care of, and I was that was the most important thing to me. So I was working my tail off, and I think they recognized that. They recognized the effort. I think of the early stuff that I did, and I look back at some of the printed pieces from those early years, and boy, talk about wincing. I look at that work and I'm like, holy crap, what were you doing? Very green, but
you got to start somewhere, right?
You got to start somewhere, and luckily, boy, where I was working, they really took care of me. They really became like family. That company, and they were very patient with me, and it ended up going great, and to the point where they allowed me to come back for that 2-year absence after I came back from it. The 2 years in California was interesting too. We had moved to the Bay Area, and at that point it was my dream to work for Lucasfilms. Didn't quite work out that way, but I did work out there for a print shop and worked as a designer out there. But within that 2 years that we were out there, we were there for the World Series earthquake in 1989. And I didn't like the idea of living in a place where the ground could shake under you whenever it wanted to. So we decided to move back to Colorado after that.
Yeah, that was a devastating earthquake. Oh my God.
It was. Yeah. It was something else.
That's so cool that you got to go to California and then coming back and getting the same job. And, I worked in the print industry. And so I know exactly, I can immediately relate to you, and worked in the art department and then post-production and, or bindery and all that. So I've seen the process the whole way through. I've ran presses and so it's a kind of an interesting industry. I don't, I'm not sure I want to go back to that, but the smell of the chemicals about did me in.
The chemicals were tough because I worked in 2 print shops out in California. I worked in a silkscreen shop up in San Francisco for about 6 months. And the chemicals in that place you could feel them just eating away at your innards. You'd go home with the taste of Fix on your tongue. It was like peanut butter. But it was a great experience because I was really learning pre-press. I was learning offset pre-press, and I was learning silkscreening pre-press. And they're 2 fairly different processes. So I was armed with that experience, and that ended up being great. And there too, I cut cards, I ran numbering machines, ran the folding machine, not very well. And there were a few times where I got in a real jam when I was cutting cards, and the owner didn't warn me that I was cutting cards that had spongy paper, and I didn't clamp it down hard enough. So there were a bunch of trapezoid cards that came out of the cutter. So I got in a lot of trouble for that.
Or when you accidentally trim like a paper clip or something. That was
yes.
Ruin a whole blade. But what's interesting, I think, working in the print industry, if you're a designer, let's say you're going to go work for a big firm, but if you're a designer and you can get your start even just part-time in a print shop or a silk screen, it really lets you design with the end in mind because you understand the process. And that makes a big difference.
Yes, you go through pissing off many a pressman along the way. Right? Yeah. They come back and they say, "What were you thinking designing this piece like this?" But it was great training ground. And I was able to design. I was able to be a much stronger designer after that. Yeah. So cool.
So let's talk about what you do today for your day job that's art related.
Today, my career has evolved to a really interesting place. The company I work for is Z-Axis Corporation. We do litigation graphics. So what we do is we partner with law firms to create their visuals in court. So it can be anywhere from full 3D reenactments, printed 3D models to PowerPoint presentations, whatever it takes for them to present their case in court. And we take on really big cases. We worked on the Deepwater Horizon case, the spill in the Gulf. Early on, the company had taken on the World Trade Center. I wasn't really involved in that case too much because it was kind of wrapping up when I started. But that's the type of work that we do, and it's really interesting. It's something different every day. You never know what creative solution you have to come up with, and I work with some brilliant producers that come up with the ideas. They do the Apollo 13 and come up with the crazy ideas of how to tell the stories. And my job is to try and make it look good, basically.
What is your title there? What?
With Z-Axis, I'm the art director.
Okay.
So I really try to come in and create a look and feel and a consistent look and feel for the presentation materials for a given client.
And so does each one of these law firms that you work with, do they have their own way of working as far as what they want, or does it vary from case to case?
It varies from firm to firm. The culture of the firms is, each one is very unique, and also the case. And really, I guess the way that the firm functions, whether we're working with a lot of associates or partners, it all depends. It's very different every time.
And so they pretty much just leave it up to you to figure out how to tell the story to present
the best case, the most ideal scenario is if our company is truly coming in as a partner with them, if we come in on an equal footing and we're not just order takers. And that's where our producers really shine, is when they can come in and really have an impact on the strategy. And all these guys are really smart. They're able to come in and decipher what the case is, and oftentimes really have an impact on the case strategy for the lawyers. And though that's the ideal situation, when we can come in and really make an impact in that way. There are some times where we'll deal with law firms where they just want us to just make the pretty pictures. And that's not the ideal scenario. The ideal scenario is if we can come in a holistic way and really make an impact.
So the producers, what's their background generally? Are they attorneys, or are they more the art side?
A few of them have, one of the guys has a real strong art and video background. One of them has a real strong electrical engineering background. Our newest producer is a graduate of the School of Mines, and he's our young gun, and he's real smart, just has an incredible engineering brain, and he's really able to come in and basically take on anything. And the founder of the company, he's really interesting. He's a combination of a very analytical mind, but also a very creative mind. He was a music major in college. He was a great trumpet player, and so he brings kind of both sides of the brain to the equation.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So Z-Axis, is that a large company?
No, it's a real small company. We're kind of considered a boutique shop. We're pretty small and very specialized in what we do. I would say we're probably about 15 to 20 employees.
Okay.
Worldwide. Yeah. We've got offices in the UK and throughout the US.
Oh, wow.
Well, about 3 locations in the US.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Real interesting. Very specialized. And
very specialized.
And I bet it's very intriguing day to day, just, the projects that you have to take on for these different firms.
It really is. It's something different every day.
So they've been around for a while then.
They've been
World Trade Center, Oklahoma bombing.
Yeah, they've been around since 1984. So they're probably the oldest company of its type. I pretty much feel like the founders of our company were the first ones to do it.
Are there many other boutique companies like Z-Axis that do the same thing?
Yeah, there are a lot of companies now. It's really a growing industry. There are a lot of companies throughout the country and throughout the world that do this. They're really big firms that do everything. They'll do consulting. They'll do jury research. They'll go into trials, and they'll do the whole full service offering. We really just focus on the graphics side of it. A lot of these firms, they'll offer up the graphics plus the on-site trial support and the jury consulting as well. And the graphics will only be one part of the business that they do. So there's wide and varied competitors out there that run the gamut of the industry.
Gotcha. So do you work on multiple cases at any given time? Or are you really just focused, because you're such a small boutique company, are you really focused just working with a select few because of the number of employees that you have and the cases that you can really take on at once?
It depends. We can get real busy. We can be working a number of cases at a time. We can work upwards of 6 to 10 cases at a time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And all always just high profile type stuff?
Not always. A lot of them will be financial cases. They're all usually big stakes. There's usually a lot of money involved, a lot at stake in the cases, and some of them can be real high profile.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
like when you punch a hole in the golf, right?
Exactly. What's been great about that is in my work with both JD Edwards and Z-Axis, I've had an opportunity to travel. And when I travel, I'm able to look for stories to tell in my paintings, which is, I've been really blessed to be able to do that. I didn't travel as much with JD Edwards, but I was able to travel enough to get some great material to work on my paintings.
That's fantastic. So how often are you traveling? Are you traveling monthly? Probably not during the pandemic, I imagine.
Yes, we didn't travel at all during the pandemic. With Z-Axis, I was at the peak. I was probably traveling not that much, honestly. At the peak, I would travel maybe when we were working something like the Deepwater Horizon case in New Orleans. We were in New Orleans for at least a couple months on that case, so I was able to really delve into the city of New Orleans and get a lot of really great shots and great material. And New Orleans is such an incredible city. There's an endless supply of interesting people and architecture, and that's usually the combo that works best for me. Is I always look for the ideal situation is finding really interesting people with a really interesting backdrop.
Right.
So New Orleans was like a kid in a candy store.
So this whole time that you've been working a regular job to pay your bills and support your family, you're doing your fine art stuff in the evening on the weekends as well?
Exactly. Yeah. It making it fit in the wee hours of the morning and the weekends. It's quite the juggling act to do that. But luckily, my wife and my kids have been very patient with me all these years, because there were moments when it was I would struggle, I would get frustrated that I wasn't able to be as prolific as I wanted to, and I probably at those times wasn't the ideal person to be around at times. But they've really helped me get through that and carry through and be very patient with me to see it through, and they've been my support and my inspiration for all of the work. So
yeah,
it's all worked out.
Have you always been interested in doing fine art then, or is this something that kind of developed over a time?
No, I've always had an interest in it. I've been painting since I was in high school, and it's always something that I wanted to do, and it's never lapsed in throughout that time. The reality of it's kind of a catch-22, because the work wouldn't have any meaning to me at all if it weren't for my wife and my kids. It would have no inspiration whatsoever. But the flip side is my paintings can't support my family, can't support my wife and my kids. So making it work in those off hours is for me, it's worked out great. It's fine with me, because as I say, that work wouldn't have any purpose if I weren't doing it during that time. So it's worked out really well. In recent years, I'm ramping up my effort more and more as time is allowing me to do more work. And I've gotten a lot more active in recent years. I recently joined the Littleton Fine Arts Guild. And with that, I've gotten some great exposure. In fact, my connection to Bitfactory came through the Fine Arts Guild. I had entered a piece in the All Colorado show a couple years ago, and Bill Thomason, by coincidence, entered a piece in the All Colorado show and got into the Fine Arts Guild show, the All Colorado show. And it's so funny how it all worked out, because I saw his piece in the show, and I thought it was the best thing in the gallery that day. So I voted for his painting for People's Choice. And I was just blown away by it. I just loved it. And about a week later, I get this friend notice on Facebook from Bill. And then I get an email from him shortly after that inviting me to be in his no-show. I think it was 2020. No, it must have been 2019. So I think it was the All Colorado Show 2018. So Bill invites me to participate in no-show. And he said, I really liked your work at the All Colorado. And I said, right back at you. I voted for years for People's Choice. So Bill and I connected through that. And I was in the no-show. And then I was going to be in it again this year. But I ended up getting COVID. So I wasn't able to participate in it. But there again, Bill has generously invited me to have this show next month. And I'm just so grateful. I really love his gallery and his approach to it. He's not your typical gallery owner. He's so down to earth and he's just so generous with the artists. I've been to a number of his openings and just the way that he is with the artists that he shows, just a great guy. I mean, I can't say enough.
Yeah, we both concur. He's just a wonderful guy, and Todd's became pretty good friends with him, and it's been a wonderful relationship to have him with the Tenet podcast too. So,
great.
Yeah. So
yeah, he's been a huge promoter, and he has turned us on to a lot of artists. So,
excellent.
Shout out to Bill for all of his support and all the wonderful things he's done for us as a podcast.
Yeah. I got a quick question. So, you describe your work as devoted to telling the story of everyday life in urban settings around the world. How did you land on that? How did you kind of focus on the telling of the everyday life, which is really cool?
Yeah. I guess where that comes from is I think the artists that I've always loved and been influenced by kind of approach it that way. I mean, I feel a lot of the Impressionist artists, they were the first ones to not be painting aristocrats and rich people. They were the ones that started painting people walking down the street and tapping into the everyman. And people like I've always loved Edward Hopper. Edward Hopper's probably my biggest art hero, but I was really strongly influenced by the Impressionists. What I really, the ideal scenario for me is I try to imagine a backstory of the person in the painting. I will take a number of shots and ideally just try and look into their psyche if I can. It doesn't always work out that way, but just trying to have empathy for what's going on there. Yeah. And that for me, that's the ideal scenario.
I mean, if you think of Toulouse-Lautrec and the Moulin Rouge or Degas.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what you're doing.
Yes. I'm so glad you mentioned Lautrec and Degas because they are two of my favorites as well. I always loved Degas. He was always kind of a fly on the wall, just kind of looking in, and Lautrec too. I mean, that was his whole thing. Probably more with Lautrec, it was a little more of the seamier side of things. I have a few paintings that kind of fall into the Lautrec category, but it's exactly that. It's just taking a peek. I guess it's kind of a voyeuristic view into life. So that's always what I look for. There are definite exceptions to that rule with some of my paintings, but that's a general idea.
So I was going to ask you about that because I was curious about your process. So when you're out and about, you're not actually in traveling or whatever, you actually carry a camera with you and you kind of document some of the things that you see that you would want to paint later. Is that what I understand?
That's exactly it. Yes. I'll just walk around and just look for scenes, just look for interesting people, I'm a buff as far as architecture. I love architecture, and certain cities are I'm surprised I haven't been hit by a car yet. Especially New York. I mean, I'm surprised I haven't been hit and killed by a rambling taxi on Fifth Avenue. When you're walking down 42nd, you look up at the Chrysler building. That's all you're seeing.
And traveling is a really refreshing thing. It really opens your mind and eyes to things that, are not in your normal environment.
Exactly.
Have you always been a keen observer of your surroundings, of people, even in your younger years?
Yeah, I think so. I think I've always had a curiosity. I've always had an interest in my surroundings and other people. I think I probably got that from my mom. I think she always had that same.
She liked to people watch?
She liked to people watch. Yeah, she did.
I love to people watch. And so sometimes you're just observing, but you kind of make up in your head your own little scenario or story of what's going on in the scene.
Exactly. Some paintings more than others. I was lucky enough to have to go on a case about 4 or 5 years ago to Paris. And there was this cafe, this very typical Parisian cafe that was not too far from the Eiffel Tower. And so I stood there and I must have taken about 50, 100 shots of this cafe. And the people they didn't care. Paris, they probably think stupid American. They could tell I was an American. I mean, I stuck out like a sore thumb. And they probably just thought, oh, that idiot, he's just taking pictures. So I got to take like 50 to 100 shots. I'm doing a series of paintings from it because the cafe itself, I came to the conclusion the whole scene by itself didn't work. It didn't work as a composition at all. So what I've done is I've broken it down to I've cropped into smaller areas of this cafe scene.
So little vignettes?
Little vignettes. To me, it's just, it's perfect because, one of the scenes you have this waitress standing there that's holding her tray and you can tell she's just had it with all of the customers by that point. She just has this look on her face like the next customer that gets sideways with her, she's going to smack him on the head with that tray. And then I go over to one side where there's a group of ladies, probably about 6, sitting at a table, and they're just going a mile a minute talking to each other. And then there's another scene where there's a lady sitting with her dog in her lap, and there's a couple sitting at a table next to them, and that the boyfriend has said something stupid because the girlfriend is looking at him like she's going to kill him. So it's all those imagined stories. I've just looked at them, and with this one, by isolating the composition, you're able to just sit there and wonder, wow, what's going on here? So for me, that's just like I say, kid in a candy store. It's so much fun to try and imagine those stories.
As a photographer in me, I have to know what kind of camera you're using when you're going and doing this.
Oh, I've got a Canon Rebel, I think EOS Rebel. I'm not very good with it. I just put it on auto and just click away. So I don't pretend to really. I took photography at the Art Institute, but I was never able to really understand it well enough to do very good with it.
Yeah, and what you're doing, you're just capturing the moment so you can repaint it. But I was just kind of curious if it was like a small mirrorless camera that's kind of, but it's a regular, it's digital SLR. So
yeah, it's not inconspicuous. People get freaked out when they see me pull out that camera.
Right. So I'm seeing. Go ahead, Todd. Oh, I was going to say is like, when you think of whose name I'm going to butcher, but Cartier-Bresson, I think is how it's pronounced. One of Todd's favorites. He's got that little Leica camera and it's really unassuming, right? He's in their face taking, so he's right there. But, and I think, I shoot a big Nikon and when I pull that out, everybody's like, oh my God, look at this,
Yeah.
So I don't do a lot of people shooting in like an urban setting because I get kind of worried that people are going to freak out at me.
Oh yeah, you do have that, and people will freak out. years ago, one of my favorite places to get material was San Francisco, and some of the areas of San Francisco that are visually so exciting, like Chinatown, is very exciting to me. I would try to shoot in Chinatown, but if you try to shoot people in Chinatown, they would get very upset with you. There were times that there was one day I had gone to there's that little park area right behind Grant Street in Chinatown, and I wanted to take some pictures of the older people doing their Tai Chi, and they did not want their pictures taken, and I understood. I respected it, and I walked away. So there are definitely situations like that. Sometimes in New York, a lot of times if I'll try and take pictures where a lot of people are gathered, sometimes you'll get pushback. People don't want their picture taken. My daughter and I were doing a walking tour through Harlem, and there was one day I was going to take a picture of the first apartment that Billie Holiday lived in. And I go to take a picture of that, and there were these two gentlemen sitting on the front step, and they ran off as fast as they could. They were not happy with me taking a picture. And I tried to explain to them, Billie Holiday lived here. I got to take a picture of this.
Right. When I was in Israel, I was shooting, I was down by the Western Wall. And of course, there was a lot of Hasidic Jews there, going to pray. And, and they look so unique that you have to shoot. And I did shoot some, did photograph some. I gotta be careful and say shoot, because some people listening will totally misconstrue what I'm saying. But you take a photograph of them, and I did get the evil eye. So they were not happy with me. So then I kind of stopped. But
what a great subject. Yeah. I mean, it's so heartfelt, and
yeah.
Have you gotten pretty good over the years as being relatively stealthy?
I have gotten pretty good at that.
Wes mentioned Cartier-Bresson, and he got so fast that, he would already have it. He would be like a split second. He could put that camera up to his eye. He knew exactly his light. So he knew exactly what he had his camera set up. In fact, he had like little pieces of tape, if I remember correctly, on his camera, so he could set the lens without even looking at it. And
my goodness.
Immediately and I guess sometimes not even have to compose through the viewfinder. He could just set the camera and click without even, before they even knew that it was happening, the people he's photographing.
Oh, wow. That's cool to hear. I need to focus on sharpening my skills, because I'm still kind of clunky with it. And I do piss people off.
Well, I think it's the beauty of the new, phones, the camera phones, is you can be a little bit more, nonchalant about it, and still, and the images are getting really, really good.
They're getting so good on the phones.
And then, the post-production stuff, you can really crank up, the resolution and get some great shots from them. So we're really in a good time as far as if you want to get like candid street shots, you can do it with just a cell phone.
That's true. I should think about doing that, because pulling out the big old camera, I just look like such a tourist. I'm walking out there with my big old camera around my neck, and sticking out like a. And then in some of the cities, you kind of feel you would be an easy target too.
Yeah.
So.
Gotta be careful. But that's gotta be fun.
Yeah.
That's gotta be fun.
Yeah.
New Magazine is our media sponsor for the Tenet podcast. That's NUE. You can follow both the national and the Denver edition of New Magazine on Instagram. Edition can be found at new_magazine, and the Denver edition at new_Denver_magazine. Look to New for compelling stories from the world of art and fashion. Thanks for listening. Let's talk about a couple pieces, Wes.
Okay. So the one I'm looking at, if you go to Newer Work, it's there's a band there. The very first one on the far left. If you bring that one up, that would be awesome. And I'm assuming this is New Orleans. Correct me if I'm wrong.
This is New Orleans, right It's in front of Jackson Square, in between Jackson Square and the St. Louis Cathedral.
And what I love about this, the buildings that you painted are done just perfectly. I mean, they're just in the street with the water and it's just elegant. And then and then the people, I would have been just happy with the street and the buildings, because that's me, right? Like, oh, hey, everybody move, I want to get a feel. But obviously this is what brings the life to the photograph, right? You got the blonde woman, clapping, and then you got the trumpet player blowing the horn. I mean, you got all this horn section with the tubas and the trombone, and it's just an exquisite piece. I love it.
Oh, thank you. This one was a blast. And it's very rare that when I'm looking through the camera that I know it's going to be a painting. This was a situation where, as I was clicking, I knew I was going to paint this, because it was just the perfect melding of people and this scenario. And I have I was a band geek in high school, so I played the tuba in high school. So I have a soft spot for tuba players.
And most people won't admit that in public.
They won't. They won't. Well, I've been married a long time. I don't need to worry about getting a date. So, I will freely admit I was a tuba player.
Like Wes said, this is a very exquisite piece. So Jackson Square, you'll find it under newer work on Jeff's website. Wes, do you have another piece you want to talk about?
Well, and then the one next to it is the El Cortez Hotel. Yeah. And that's another one that I think what I like about that is it's an unusual perspective. You kind of, you're getting the sign, but you got Gamble kind of off to the left. And I just like the way that looks, and it's really almost photographic. It's so real looking. I really love it.
Oh, thanks. This is interesting. This is a location and a shot that I had seen on a previous trip to Las Vegas, and I knew I wanted to. We had been in that part of Las Vegas at night on a previous trip, and I saw this sign, and I just loved the shadows, and I just loved the way it looked, and I put it in the back of my mind that it was a site that I wanted to paint. But on that particular trip, I wasn't able to do it because we were leaving first thing the next morning, and it was at night. I wanted to get it during the day. So I kind of put it in the back of my mind. And then a few years later, we were back in Las Vegas, and I purposely went downtown Las Vegas. And the vantage point was we were in the parking garage at the El Cortez on like the second or third level. So we're walking toward the parking garage, and this is where there's like an opening area before you get into the parking garage where you can see the sign from this angle. And so I went back to get that shot because it was, to me, it just hit the mark perfectly. So that this was one that had to wait a couple years when I could go back and get it. There have been a few paintings like that where I've done that, where I've seen a location and been fortunate enough to go back and really focus on the area and get a bunch of shots. There's another painting in New Orleans that I'm working on right now. Well, actually, that I've just finished, where we had gone on one trip down to New Orleans, and then I knew we were coming back, and we came back, and I went down. This next time around, I brought my tripod and my camera, and I got a bunch of shots for this one particular location. And I also did that in San Francisco as well. I don't know if you see in the collection, the painting that's called Mr. Bing's. That's right next to the Cyclone.
I love this piece.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
This is a painting where I had seen the location, and I came back on another trip and sat there for a while and got a number of shots. What was kind of a nice sidebar to this painting is shortly after that, I had watched an episode of Anthony Bourdain's It was the show that he did where he would just go to a location for 24 hours, his layover show. And he did one for San Francisco. And his last stop on that episode was getting a drink at Mr. Bing's. So it was really kind of nice to see that in the Bourdain episode.
That's pretty cool.
I'd always wanted to try and find a way to send a picture of this to him.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Is this a pretty famous lounge, Mr. Bing's?
No, it's a really crappy little dive bar it's in the North Beach area. It's not too far. I don't know if you're familiar with City Lights bookstore.
Oh yeah.
It's a few doors down from City Lights, right near Broadway. So you can see the Condor up there on Broadway in Columbus.
Okay.
So it's just this.
And it says
dumpy.
Corso on there. So Gregory Corso.
It's in Italian. Corso Cristoforo Colombo.
Okay.
It's Columbus Avenue, and that's where that's the North Beach section of San Francisco. That's kind of the Italian section of San Francisco, and you can see the green, white, and red stripe on the telephone pole.
Okay,
that indicates that it's the Italian section of San Francisco. And
That's so
it's
cool.
interesting. The sign is in Italian, Corso Cristoforo Colombo.
Okay.
So what I like about this is I like how you captured the light of the headlights.
Yes.
And it's just, this is just incredible.
Oh, thank you.
And the other thing I don't want you to necessarily go back, but on the other one, the El Cortez, your composition in that painting is amazing. I mean, the golden, you can see the golden ratio working at the rule of thirds. And this is another thing that you nail is composition. So if anybody is unsure what to look for as far as composition as an artist or a photographer, check out his work, because
thirds and fifths.
Thirds and fifths.
Yeah. And it's funny those are the kind of things that, those are kind of the fundamentals that I learned in art school, which I think were really helpful for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to ask you this. Do you always work in oil?
Yes, I do. It's funny. Oil is the most forgiving medium. People think that oil is the most challenging. I think it's the easiest. To me, watercolor painters they're the ones with the real guts. Oil painters, it cuts us all kinds of slack.
Yeah. Somebody had said that watercolor is like it's the easiest thing to learn, but it's the hardest thing to master.
Oh,
so
yeah, it's a very unforgiving medium, and you really got to know your business with watercolor. Oil, it'll cut you a break.
I had this whole conversation with Bill Thomason from Bitfactory yesterday, and his it definitely wasn't a love-hate relationship. It was more of a hate relationship with watercolor, and we were discussing gouache. And
gouache is the worst. Oh my gosh.
Tiffany, if you're listening,
Tiffany
Mang, who does gouache like amazing gouache painter. I mean, she's amazing. So,
my kudos to her, because anybody who can paint gouache well, they are geniuses as far as I'm concerned. Because we had to learn how to use gouache in art school, and I could never get it. It drove me crazy. Yeah, so a person who can paint gouache, well, you've got my commendation and kudos all the way. I'll have to take a look at her website.
Yeah, she's amazing. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
so
go ahead. Great. She was a great conversation. Go ahead, Wes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So let's talk about oil painting. So why is it? Because it takes longer to dry and you can move the paint around? How is it forgiving?
That's part of it. That's a big part of it, because I have trouble working in acrylics because it dries so fast. The oil, you can play with it for a while. You can adjust your colors. You can mix your colors. I just feel that it's more forgiving. And then if you make a mistake, you can come back and paint over it, which I've done a number of times. it's just, I don't know. And from a tactile perspective, I'm just so much more comfortable with it. I guess I can control it better than any other medium. I've talked to other artists, and I'm considering trying this. Other artists have told me that a good approach to take is to do an underpainting in acrylic, and then come back and do your painting over the top with oils. So I think I might attempt to give that a try in some future works, because I can see where that would really help a lot. Just put large swaths of maybe tone in your acrylic and then come over with oil.
That's an interesting tip. I've never heard that before.
Yeah. I was talking to one of the ladies that I worked with at the Fine Arts Guild suggested that.
All right, boys and girls, if you're following along and you need a tip for the episode, that's it.
I hope it works.
Your work is incredibly detailed and intricate. What do you enjoy about like this piece right here, Dumbo, Brooklyn? I mean, there's so much detail in this painting.
Yes.
What draws you to that? And say, how long does it take you to do something like this? Because this is a large piece. It's 40 by 60.
Wow. Yes. This canvas spanned probably about 2 years of work, off and on. It wasn't solid, consistent work the whole 2 years. It was off and on, but it did take 2 years to complete this piece. And, it's interesting. Some of the more gratifying areas of the paintings can be in the real obscure parts of it, the streets, the brickwork in the buildings, the parts that are not real obvious.
How about the shadowed areas like underneath that bridge? Yeah,
I really enjoy the shadows. I like lurking in the shadows. Because trying to achieve the real subtlety of your tonal range in the shadows to still make it interesting, because a shadow is never going to be completely black. It's going to be a wide range of variation. Even in the darkest shadows, you're never going to just throw in there a solid Mars black. You're going to go in there and throw in a little Payne's gray. You're going to throw in a little color. You want to have a little color in your shadow from the ambient light. So those, it's almost those areas that are the parts that I enjoy the most. The real obvious areas are not as gratifying, I guess.
Okay. So you love the nuance and the subtlety of what you have to do in order to make that look real.
Exactly. Yeah, those are the parts that probably make me smile the most. And the backstory on this painting is when I did this painting, I was dropping off my youngest daughter to school in Brooklyn, and my oldest daughter to school in Brooklyn. My oldest daughter decided to go for a master's degree at NYU, and my youngest daughter had gotten a partial scholarship to Pratt Institute in Brooklyn, and they were both starting at the same time. So the title of this painting is I call it Dumbo Brooklyn because Brooklyn took away my daughters from me.
Ah.
and it's a double entendre because that's the Dumbo section of Brooklyn.
So you have some children that have followed in your footsteps?
I do. I've got 4 children, and they've all followed in one way or another in the footsteps. My oldest and my youngest more directly. My oldest, when she was in high school, she was really into the arts. She was into theater. She was a musician. She was in band. All my kids were in band. Me and my wife kind of, and my kids probably still are angry about this. We made them all be in band, because I always felt that band students ended up being better students because of that. So my oldest Jenny was in band. She was a visual artist. She was Also very heavy into theater. So she was really into it, and she ended up getting an undergrad degree at UCD in theater. And then she went for a master's at NYU in drama therapy. So now that's what she does for a living. She's a therapist, and this program that she went into was kind of experimental. And I think the certification, unfortunately, it's only recognized in a few states. It's recognized in New York, California, New Mexico. I think those are the only 3 states where it's certified. But she's doing great. She's a therapist, and she has her own practice. Let's see, my youngest, she more followed directly. She ended up going to DSA, Denver School of the Arts, up there on Montview in Quebec. So she was having to take the bus all the way from Littleton, all the way up to DSA for her high school career. I would drive her I worked in the tech center, so I'd drive her in the tech center, drop her off at the bus. She'd take it up to Quebec and Montview. And she did really well there, and she got a partial scholarship to Pratt. And she ended up, after she graduated from Pratt, she worked for Nickelodeon on I don't know if you're familiar with Bubble Guppies.
No.
I've heard of it. I don't think I've ever watched it.
I would say if you have infant to 2-year-olds, you would be watching Bubble Guppies. So only people with babies would be familiar with it. So she worked on that for a few years. She worked on a show called Blaze, and now she works for the Dodo. I don't know if you're familiar with the animal videos.
Yeah.
From the Dodo, she works for them. She does their motion graphics for them.
Oh, that's cool.
So
that's cool.
And she's still in New York, so it's really cool. We get to go visit her in Brooklyn every now and then.
Nice.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And then my let's see. Thanks for indulging me on this. For me, it's all about my wife and kids. My son is he's a musician. He can play just about anything, and he's in a number of bands through town. Let's see, what are the names of his bands? He's in a band called Sean Hannigan and the Bluebirds. He had another solo project that was his called Pigeon Port, and he's also in a band called Gentlemen in Drag.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Right on.
And then my other daughter, she graduated from UNM with an archaeology degree, and now she's kind of shifted over. She's working. She works at the Denver Rescue Mission. She's in charge of helping families get back on their feet. So, and she's also a writer. That's what she pursues from a creative bent. She's written a number of articles, and I'm going to keep pushing her to continue her writing.
Yeah. Well, and she's doing important work. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That the work that she's doing is really great, and she really loves it, and she's very devoted to it. So
yeah, that's fantastic. I admire her for doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we do have a serious issue in this city. And so it's good to know that there's people out there that are trying to help some of these people that, are on the streets or in difficult situations. So good for her.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
And I'm in Rapid City, South Dakota, of population on a good day of 100,000, and including part of the surrounding area, and homelessness here and people that are trying to get their lives together is a real big problem as well. And so I mean, it's not just the big cities that have it. The middle and small cities have it as well. So yeah, kudos for her.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
I want to ask you, is it all right, Todd, is it all right if we move back to art a little bit?
No, let's do it.
Okay. And we can come back to this or whatever. So one of my things that when you were talking about, Dumbo Brooklyn, was that it took you like 2 years to complete that piece of art. Mm-hmm. It's hard for me to wrap my head around, just because I'm, as a photographer, it's instantaneous and you can play with post-production or whatever, but to set it aside and then keep coming back to it, how does that work? Because I would think once you start, you'd want to finish.
That can be tricky. More often than not, life gets in the way.
Okay.
Work, any number of life situations will take you away from the work for weeks at a time, unfortunately. I'm getting better at not letting that happen. I've got more time. I'm at a point now where I've got a little more free time to really focus, and I'm getting more works done now than the era of that painting. But it's more just the situation of life getting in the way. And it can be difficult. You really, when you're on a roll, you want to keep going. And it's really tough to put some of these canvases down. This one was in particular pretty tricky to ramp it back up was a hard thing to do, and to keep going back at it and sticking with it because it was such a big piece. But you just keep going, and you keep pounding your head against the wall until it gets done.
Right. And we've asked this a couple of times, but is there a point where it's really recognizable for you that I'm done with this piece? Or is it something that you just kind of like, okay, I just got to be done with this piece?
There are definitely situations where I've got to be done with this piece. Yes. And I've gotten better at that because there have been times where I've been a dog on the bone too long. There are some pieces where I feel like I've overworked them a little bit. I think in recent years, I've gotten better at letting go at the right time. I feel that I make a better judgment nowadays of when to let it go. Because with my paintings, I could go back and chaw on them for, through infinity, and I just got to walk away.
Right. So then I got another question, because we've talked to some abstract artists, and sometimes their process with abstract, you're not necessarily looking at a reference material to paint from. So they kind of work where the canvas is talking to them, and it's almost like a dialogue.
Yeah.
So is it the same for you? Does the canvas come back and talk to you like, I need something here, and then put something here?
Definitely. There are definitely moments where I will look at a part of the canvas and I will say, just let it go. This isn't an exact depiction of what your subject is, but I think you're better leaving certain stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
And as I get more time to have regular working time, I've gotten better at being able to do that, being able to let those things go and know that it doesn't matter. It
Mm-hmm.
really doesn't. You don't have to put every detail in. And I'm hoping that as time goes by that I will learn to, because I still really feel my process is still, I mean, I'm an older guy, but I'm still at the early stages of knowing what my process and my technique is. I'm kind of, I guess my growth has been somewhat stunted because I've had to fit the work in the evenings. And I think you can only get to that place if you're rolling and rolling. So I feel like I'm finally getting to a place where I think just barely understanding myself as an artist.
By looking at your artwork, though, I could never say that, because your technique is so solid, and the detail you put in it. I mean, the skill that you obviously have is immense to do this.
Thank you.
But I think it's reassuring for other artists to hear that, like, I'm only coming into myself, and I've been doing this for a while, so that's encouraging.
Yeah, I feel like it's there's still plenty of journey left. And that's the part that makes it fresh and exciting. I still want to rediscover how to do this. And I think I'm just getting to early stages of doing that. I mean, when you look at someone like, it blows my mind when I see someone like Picasso, who completely changed who he was as an artist. And the fact that he was able to do that, I mean, the guts that it took and just what he had to put into his work to be able to do that. I can't imagine that. I think I would have to live another 100 years to even attempt to do something like that. So my little simple journey here is I'm way behind in some ways.
Now you speak to this, and it's probably gotten easier as you get older. You kind of become more accepting of things, and especially because you're a person who has always put their family first. You have a regular job that is art related that feeds that part of you. But is it hard to not compare yourself with other artists? You spoke to Picasso. Is it hard to think, geez, I wish I had more time, or I wish I had produced more at this point in my life? Is it hard to process that sometimes?
When I was younger, it was probably something that I struggled more with. I would say, definitely my 30s and my 40s, I did have that struggle. At this stage of the game, I
kind of let it go.
I've kind of let it go, and whatever success I have, I'm very grateful for. So I guess I've come to a peaceful place with it.
Learn how to smell the roses.
Learn how to smell the roses. Yeah, and like I say, the bottom line is, and I probably wasn't. I know I wasn't in this place of balance in the whole scheme of things, that none of this none of this work, whatever these gifts are, would mean nothing to me if I were by myself. I mean, if I would have been by myself to do way more work as far as the fine art, I'd be here with a bunch of paintings by myself, and it would have zero meaning to me. So in the scheme of things, I'm at a place where I kind of really feel like I get to get my cake and eat it too. And recently I'm getting a new energy to try and make something happen with it. And whatever happens, I'm very grateful for, whatever that ends up being. It's all good. That's what it comes down to, I guess.
It's all good.
It's all good, man.
Well, that's awesome that you have that perspective, because I could see just beating yourself up like, I didn't produce enough. So, yeah. And
I've definitely gone through those stages.
I know the feeling, brother. I know the feeling. But it's wonderful. It's always refreshing that. And I love my kids. I could have been around more when they were younger.
Yeah, me too.
So I always admire people like you and like Todd, that always families first. And Todd is a perfect example. His kids are, number one uno in his life. And I can see it's the same with you. So I'm always refreshed that's the case.
Oh, great. And the thing is when they were growing up, I definitely wasn't hitting the mark all the time. Far from it. I was struggling and frustrated and not always the best guy to be around with that struggle. I hope I wasn't that way all the time. I don't think I was, but I was enough they could see it and they felt it. And I've had frank conversations with them about it and tried to be honest about being that way and asking their forgiveness and their patience through this whole process. And with them, they can really understand because they've got that creative gene in them as well. And they know that drive, how hard it is and how much it compels a person. So I think they can understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
They understand that that's an itch that needs to be scratched. And, if you're a creative person, artistic, you're just compelled to make stuff. And when you're not able to do that at times, it can be very frustrating.
It can be very frustrating.
And it can kind of take an emotional toll on you in some ways.
Exactly. I tell my kids, being an artist, being a creative type is, I call it tantamount to breathing.
Yep.
you need it to live. I mean, it's as simple as that. You're never going to hit that sweet spot unless you're doing that. So,
right. And it's not what you do, it's who you are. Being an artist is not what you do, it's who you are.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the way it's, like, I think you nailed it. It's part of breathing, it's as
really
simple
is.
as that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The other refreshing thing that we hear time and time again and through people's stories is that, everybody does this thing different, just like everybody's individual having their personal experiences going through life. Everybody does this art life thing completely different. There's no set way of doing it. There's no right way of doing it. You just got to figure it out yourself and what works for you.
It's it's your individual journey, and you got to find what makes it work.
I noticed that a lot of your paintings are large paintings. Do you always work in such a large scale?
Yeah, I've worked on large canvases all along. I kind of felt that when I was entering shows that the larger canvases got hung better. They made more of an impact. Some of my smaller canvases, I felt would kind of get lost. But it's interesting because now I'm coming back around and I'm doing small canvases right now. Really? And I'm really enjoying it. Like this, the series I told you about, the Parisian scene, the cafe scene, they're all small. They're all like 11 by 14 canvases. And I'm really enjoying working in that small space. It's so I'm probably going to have a series of really little paintings here for a while.
Nice.
Well, and you said that kind of it was refreshing for you, that kind of like part of your process that kind of re-energizes things because you're working in a different format as far as scale is concerned.
Exactly. Yeah. It's real different. You wouldn't think it would make a difference going from a 40 by 30 canvas to an 11 by 14, but it really is a different environment to work in. It changes a lot. And the other thing that I've discovered is for these smaller canvases, I've been buying like a smooth board surface. And I've always worked on, prime canvas, but I've been discovering these new like gessoed boards at the art supply store. And that's another new discovery that I'm really enjoying. That surface it works out really well. So that part of it has been a lot of fun to kind of rediscover the work.
Another question I want to ask you. You talked about we talked about how intricate your work is and detailed. Are you working at any given time? Are you working on multiple canvases? Do you have multiple projects going on at any given time?
I try to keep at least 2 or 3 going at the same time because I'll get bored. There are sometimes some of the canvases, like for instance, the one that is titled Millionaires and the one that is titled the other Paris painting, the Paris street scene. I was working on those at the same time, and I had a brick cobblestone walk on one, and I had a brick wall on the other one. And then at the time, I was doing a commission piece of a painting of Coors Field and I was putting bricks on that. So I felt like I was a bricklayer there for a while because I was jumping from one canvas to the other. I was painting brown bricks on one, green bricks on the other, and red bricks on the other.
Wow.
But at least it was a variety of bricks. So I like to keep a few canvases going at a time so that I can not get too bored on one thing.
Well, especially when you're being a bricklayer, like you said.
And the Coors Field piece was tough because I had a deadline. The company that I was working for at the time, they built a new corporate headquarters. The manager of the marketing department, she knew that. We had known each other for years, and she decided to commission me for a painting, and it was another Coors Field painting. I did.
Oh, not even this one.
Not even this one. I did one of the 21st and Blake entrance.
Oh, okay.
we ended up doing prints of it. And we did 1,000 prints, and we ended up selling all 1,000 prints.
Wow.
Yeah. And what was cool is that we donated the proceeds to an organization that was helping the homeless. So we were able to raise a fair amount of money for that.
Fantastic.
With that print. And what's interesting about this Coors Field painting, I've got a little bit of a tangent story on this one.
Sure.
In this painting, you see a policeman standing there just to the left.
Okay.
Right under, if you see where home plate, the home plate sign is, right below the E of that home plate, there's a policeman standing in that painting. Well, it turns out that policeman was in this painting, and he was also in the 21st and Blake painting in the foreground. Well, in 2005, I had won a drawing to do fantasy baseball for the Rockies, where they send a bunch of regular dudes out to attempt to play baseball out where they do their spring training. So I won this drawing I had taken my kids to like some show at the convention center, and I put my name in the hat, and I won a fantasy baseball trip, which was so cool. So I go on this fantasy baseball trip, and that policeman was on my team. He was on my fantasy baseball team. And I had taken some of my prints on that fantasy baseball trip because I was going to try and give one to Clint Hurdle, who was in charge of he was still the Rockies manager at the time. But I ended up giving it to the guy that was running my team. But the policeman, he said, because I was selling these prints down at Coors Field. And he said, I bought one of those prints. The guy that was on my team, that policeman. And he said, you know why I bought it? He says, I'm in your painting. And I said, what? He said, look at the painting. Yeah, look at the print. And I was looking at it, and he said, that's me. And sure enough, I look at the painting, and it was that policeman. And then about a year later, I'd gotten together with him, and I showed him this painting, this Coors Field painting. And he looked at it, and he said, I'm in this one too.
That's awesome.
That is a spectacular story. That's awesome. That is so cool.
That is.
And the fantasy baseball was a blast. I had a killer 200 batting average during the fantasy baseball, and I got hit by a pitch.
Oh, what a great story.
Yeah.
So have you done a lot of commissions over your career?
I have, yes. I've done a number of paintings over the years, and probably one of the biggest commissions I did was I did a mural for one of the founders of J.D. Edwards. He's a big donor to DU. And his name is Bob Newman. He's the name on the Bob and Judy Newman Center at DU, which is a performing arts center. Back in the early 2000s, he had donated a classroom to the Daniels Business College, and he commissioned me to do a mural for that. He wanted me to do this mural that kind of showed the history of computers. So it's a real. And he said, Jeff, I want you to do it in the style of Diego Rivera. So I was working on this mural in my garage, and I had it set up on, I think I shared this story with Todd. I had it set up on this easel in my garage, and it was 10 feet long by 4 feet high. And I just did it on a big piece of canvas on masonite on easels. And I was almost done with this piece. I had been working like crazy in the evenings, and there again we had a deadline for the opening of the classroom, and I had been working all these crazy hours, and I was winding it down. There was one stretch where I'd been working like 40 hours straight, and I was just burned out, exhausted. And my two youngest were still pretty little then. They were like maybe 5 and 6 at the time. And I had come in to just catch 10 minutes of nap from that work. And I sat on the chair in the living room. And the last thing I told my kids, whatever you do, don't play in the garage. Just stay away from the garage. So I'm sitting in my chair trying to recover from 40 hours of work. And I hear the garage door, the automatic garage door going down. And I'm like, oh, Lord, what's going on? And the kids did exactly what I told them not to do. They had shut the garage door. Well, I had this shop light hanging above the canvas, and the garage door closing or opening, whatever it was doing, built up tension on where the shop light was hanging, and the shop light ricochets right off the top above the canvas and puts a gash right in the middle of the canvas.
Wow.
That was 90% done. So I cannot believe it. I go out there and I see this big gash in the middle of this piece. And my wife scoops up the two kids as fast as she could, puts them in the car, and takes them to my mom's house. I think she did it in like about 1 minute and 30 seconds. The car was peeled out of the driveway because she saw the look on my face. I couldn't believe what was going on. So I ended up having to take the mural to an art restorer, and it cost me $500 to have an art restorer fix the gash. So it got fixed. The client didn't know anything. Everything was fine. We had the opening and everything of the mural. Fast forward about 6 years, and my daughter had gone to DSA. She had gotten this scholarship, this small scholarship for $500. And guess who it was from? It was from Bob Newman, the guy who commissioned me to do the mural. So we go to the celebration for her to get the check from Bob Newman. And he hands her the check, and I laugh at her and I say, I think you owe me $500.
Oh, that's awesome.
And was she the actual child that had?
She was the perpetrator.
Yeah. Okay.
One of two perpetrators that caused the gash in the mural.
That is so funny. Apropos, huh? Apropos.
Oh, man.
Oh.
So with these commissions, people just they know about your work. They know that you're a fine artist, and they just reach out to you and say, hey, I have this idea in mind. Is it something you want to take on?
Yeah, in most cases, what it's been is, just people I've known through work situations. Bob knew me from my J.D. Edwards days. He was one of the founders of J.D. Edwards, and he was kind enough to have me be part of that project, which was really great. The others have just been personal. Like one of the guys that I worked with at J.D. Edwards, he wanted a mountain scene. Jeff, can you paint me a mountain? So I painted him a mountain. Let's see, I think one other person commissioned me to do a painting of his wife from their wedding. Just small projects like that. And freelance wise, I've done some weird commission work. Back in the day, probably back in the 80s, I worked with a guy who ended up going to work for the Omega Group, who published Soldier of Fortune magazine. And this guy got me illustration work for Soldier of Fortune magazine. So I did a few illustrations for them. Luckily, it was the piece that they had me do was not very violent. It was an illustration of a Christmas scene during Vietnam. So it was kind of a sweet project to work on.
I remember that magazine. Is that still around?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I remember that used to be one of those things you could find on any given newsstand.
Exactly.
And, you would be going down the aisle and you would see that. And I'm like, oh, I wonder what's Soldier of Fortune.
Soldier of Fortune.
Yeah. That's like a memory from my childhood.
Yeah. I think I was subscribed to that one because in the early 80s, I was in the Marine Corps. And so I think I subscribed to that for maybe a
Oh,
year
no
or two.
kidding. Oh,
Who knows? Maybe I've seen that cover.
maybe you saw that illustration. Yeah.
That's right. I don't know. Oh, that's funny. So does like commission work, is that pay about the same as if you sold a painting? Is it, because I know your art goes from anywhere from, 3,000 to 5,000. Could I expect if I wanted to commission you that it would cost about the same for roughly something the same size, or is it a totally different price schedule?
It'd probably be about the same price, same schedule. Yeah.
Okay.
For a commission piece.
And what is your thought process behind pricing your art? Do you have a formula that you work off of, or just a certain size is roughly this much?
Yeah, I guess I've gone with a rule of thumb of hitting a price that I think is reasonable. I don't know. I haven't been able to sell a whole lot of work, so it might be too high. But when I consider how much work I put into these canvases, it's really hard to let them go for too small a price. I was in a show about a year and a half ago, and I had this one curator tell me, you should lower your prices to half. And I told her I really wouldn't want to do that. And she said, would you rather have all these pieces not sold, or would you rather have them in people's houses? And I can understand what she was saying. But then I've talked to other people who have said, no, I think your pricing is reasonable. I think it makes sense for what the work is. So I pretty much stuck with where I'm at right now. I don't anticipate, changing that number at this point.
No, I wouldn't either. I think you're right on the money.
So. Yeah.
I think you're right on the money with your pricing
thank you.
For the quality of work. I think it's just absolutely superb. And for the amount of detail and time that you must have into any one of these pieces,
Exactly.
I think you're right in there. And yeah, I would never lower my prices.
Yeah, I was kind of annoyed when she told me that, but
yeah,
but she did let me show my work, so I can't be too annoyed.
Well, then you can always look at Clifford Still, who Denver's got like 95% of his work. So, it depends on what your motivation is. Like you can sell a piece here and there and then put up a museum in your name, Terry Redland in Watertown, South Dakota. There's a whole building dedicated to Terry Redland. Yeah, it's his building, and it's all his work from his illustrations with magazines.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it depends on what you have a full-time job. Maybe selling a big painting for $5,000 isn't top priority.
Yeah,
that'll be in the Jeff Velarde museum in Littleton, Colorado. Get your tickets now because that sucker's going to be sold out.
It'll be in the little house on wheels in his backyard.
Oh, that's awesome.
The Jeff Velarde Tiny House Museum.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
I got to ask you, so you've been blessed to travel to a lot of different places all over the world. You mentioned New Orleans as a favorite place of yours for the rich street scenes and architecture. What are some of the other places that you've traveled to that you just absolutely love as far as gathering visuals and pictures for your work?
Well, Las Vegas has proved to be actually a really interesting place. I hate gambling. My wife loves to gamble. I hate it. And Las Vegas is not particularly my favorite place, but it has proved to be a really cool place to get material. Very interesting people. If you want to people watch, Las Vegas is a great place to do that. So Las Vegas has proved to be a really cool place for me. San Francisco was probably as far as cities to gather material from, San Francisco was my first love as far as that's concerned. I was I've been able to get a lot of great material from San Francisco. I mean, visually, it's such a striking place and very interesting people. Let's see, the New York has proved to be really great. And it's funny, it took me a long time to finally get to New York. I didn't get there until, probably just about 12 years ago for the first time. I've been to Paris a couple times, and Paris is a great backdrop for material. I've been to London about 3 times. I found London. I love London. What a great city! It's also a place where at every turn, you've got great visuals and really interesting people. And then recently, I've got a lot of material backlog from my wife and I went on a trip to Memphis, and Memphis to me was really a cool place. I really love Memphis. I've got a bunch of places from Memphis that I want to paint. Recently I made a trip to Charleston, South Carolina as well, and I've got a bunch of material from Charleston that I'm excited to get on. A number of years ago, I made a trip to Maine as well, and I've still got a backlog of material from Maine that I want to explore. So yeah, it's just so much fun.
So it sounds like you have enough material right now that when you decide to retire, you wouldn't ever have to travel again. You would have plenty to paint.
Probably. I probably got plenty of material to paint, but I still want to find more material.
Sure. That's half the fun, right?
That's half the fun. Yeah.
I have an affinity for Tennessee. In fact, I played with the idea of moving there. If I was going to move anywhere, it'd probably be Tennessee, because I just really love it. And I love, like yourself, I think Memphis is a really interesting place.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious to see when you get to some of those. I'll be curious to check that out.
Now we're in Tennessee, Todd.
I love Nashville. Nashville is a beautiful, beautiful city. I'm a huge music fan. I love the people. I just really enjoy that place. And it's some place that I wouldn't have to hard sell my wife, because she also shares my affinity for it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's what really struck me about. That's why I love New Orleans so much, was the music. Memphis and Nashville, the same thing. The music is just incredible. I mean, in this one place, you can see top-notch artists, and all you have to do is walk door to door.
Right.
You
can go in Nashville. You can walk door to door to all the different honky tonks.
Yeah.
Just in that downtown area. And it's like a big, at night, it just turns into this big party, which I've never been to New Orleans. I'd love to go there.
Oh, New Orleans.
It just becomes this
amazing place.
Party scene. And you got all these bands that you've never heard of, and they're all just phenomenal.
They're all world-class musicians. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We toured the Ryman Auditorium, and that was just, man, that's like going to seeing a cathedral.
Yeah, it's church. It's church.
Oh, something else.
I'm ready to pack my bags right now.
Yeah.
Road trip.
Oh man.
Have you been to Savannah, Georgia?
No.
Oh my
God.
God.
Wanted to go.
That is a place for you, my man. That is a place for you.
It.
Yeah. You would love it there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't been there in years, but I can't imagine, the stuff that was really, really inspiring is still there. So I can't imagine not be. So you would love Savannah, Georgia.
Savannah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I would definitely love to see it.
Yeah.
You mentioned London, and I want to talk about this piece real quick.
Okay.
I just think this is phenomenal as far as street scene, people scene. This is Piccadilly, and the detail and the street scene and capturing all the people, because there's a ton of people in this scene, and it's a large piece. It's 48 by 36.
Yes.
I love this piece.
Oh, thank you.
I think it's spectacular.
This one's going to be in the show.
It is.
at Bitfactory.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it in person.
This was a blast working on this painting. Just crossroads of the world. It's just such a crazy place. And the energy is just electric in every way. I mean, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. It's striking, and I just love how you captured, the hustle and bustle of Piccadilly.
And
I
like the mix of the modern with the signage and then the old buildings. That is just so cool.
And I want to talk about one of these pieces that is really, really striking as well. This one is entitled Leo and Paul.
Oh,
I love this piece.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for bringing this one up. I really wanted to talk about this. This painting, this is a very personal painting. My grandfather is the gentleman on stage left with holding the can of Coors. He had passed away in 91, and I started working on this painting immediately after that. My mom had this picture of him. It was a picture of him and his brother-in-law. And this is one of those paintings where I get so many cool things going. What I love here is the irony of these two characters. My grandpa had grown up in Trinidad, Colorado. He left there as a young man. He left there as a teenager to go work in the CC camps and the WPA, and never looked back. He basically, participated in all of those New Deal things during the Depression, and worked as a construction worker and did everything he could to make a living. In fact, one of the projects that he went and worked on was the Hoover Dam. He had gone down as a teenager to work on the Hoover Dam, and he ended up leaving the country for the city. When he came back, he settled in Denver, and his brother-in-law, which is next to him, stayed in Trinidad all his life and was a farmer. So this was a picture of him going back to visit his sister and his brother-in-law, and this picture just cracked me up. It to me, it was Country Mouse and City Mouse. And so this painting, like I say, was very personal. After my grandpa passed, I just sat down and worked on it, and I got this one done like within a couple months. And this painting I've made into prints and given to a number of my family members. So I've been able to share it with a number of my family. And this one is this is one of my paintings. It's not for sale. I'm going to be giving it to my kids. They'll get it after me. So this is one of the more special paintings for me.
That's awesome.
Absolutely stunning. I love how you captured them there. It's the detail is spectacular.
Oh, thank you.
What is your grandfather's brother in your grandfather's brother-in-law's hands? Do you know? What does he have?
Oh, what's so funny is he's holding a Polaroid.
I wondered that. It looked
hand.
like a Polaroid, and I was like, I wonder if that's a Polaroid.
What's so funny is somebody must be taking, at that time, this picture was, the print of this picture was from an Instamatic camera.
Okay.
So somebody in the family had an Instamatic camera taking a picture of him holding a Polaroid.
I love that. So here's what I love. I mean, I love the painting is beautiful, but I love the detail in the window, the reflection in the window of the car.
Yeah.
I mean, just this, because that's a detail that you could have glossed over and just like, it's not important. But it adds to something very special to this whole composition.
Oh, I'm so glad you saw that, Wes, because
it gives it dimension.
In this case, I really wanted to have that reflection of the car in the window.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And of course, the dog in the middle, he's the one that really, he's really the star of the show, is that raggedy dog in the middle.
Oh, that's great.
We talked earlier about the cars in the is it Bing's lounge?
Mr. Bing's, yeah.
Mr. Bing's lounge. Your attention to detail, the reflections that you paint are just out of this world as far as like capturing what that truly looks like, the realism of it all.
Oh,
and
thank you.
I can almost bet if Bill was here, he would say that that's one of the things that really he can really appreciate, because Bill is very good about how he paints reflection, water, and all those details as well.
Yeah. I mean, like his recent painting, the C-3PO painting.
Yes.
I really love that.
Yeah.
And then his big street scene that was in his show, that just blew me away.
Yeah. I can see why he reached out to you after that show and said, "Hey, I really love your work." And I could see, knowing enough about Bill, I don't know him incredibly well, but I know enough of him that I'm sure he really appreciates that attention to detail and the way that you're able to capture that. One more piece before talking about art. And this is the Palace Pier. And I love this one as well.
Thank you.
That scene and the light, and it makes you want to go there and watch the ocean on the pier.
Yeah. This was a crazy place. It's so bizarre. This was down in Brighton Beach, and I was down there. It was a flukish thing. I had to go down and help the founder of the company give a presentation to our European users group, and they were holding it in Brighton, of all crazy places. And so I was able to travel there to help him out. And this pier is right there on the beach. And the beach in Brighton, it's rocks. It's not sand. It's all these little rocks, and people sit on that stuff. I don't know how they do it, but I guess this is like Brighton is like a vacation haven for Brits. And I don't know if it's for working class Brits, probably. But this pier, went out into the water pretty far, and it has all these rickety, scary ass looking rides. And then you go inside the pier and you can gamble. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff. You can buy a pint, fish and chips. You can get every kind of really bad fried food along that pier. You can see the donuts over there on the left. So it was just this eclectic, just cornucopia of insanity. But boy, it was really cool. And it's funny, after I did this painting in my company, we had this lady working in the marketing department who was from Britain. And I had told her, I had showed her that I was working on this painting, that I had come back from this trip. And she had grown up in Brighton, this lady. And she said when she was a kid, she would ride down that crazy slide over there on the right-hand side. And she said, as a kid, it was really scary. She would ride down that slide and it looked like she was going to fly right into the water.
There's two things I love about this painting. Number one, it is like it's exactly what you want to do in art as a personal project. It's everyday life. It's just a snapshot of Palace Pier any day of the week. And I love that. The second thing is the way you painted it. As a viewer, you feel like you're part of the painting, like you're like you're walking down the pier and you're meeting people. And I would love to see this in real life, and because it's 40 by 30, it'd be fun just to sit there and look at it, because you feel like you're a part of it. And that's what's beautiful about it. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to work on this piece. This one took a little while to get done as well. But I just wanted to imagine all the crazy stories that were going on here.
My main character, I think the focal point of this painting is the guy standing there, the guy wearing the hoodie and the jeans. There's something heavy on his mind. I don't know what it is, but there's a lot of worry in his eyes. And I kind of improvised that character. The photo wasn't exactly like that. I wanted to show someone that was very deep in thought, looking down at the water, and something was heavy on his heart. So,
yeah, you get drawn into that guy for sure. It makes you wonder what he's thinking about, you know?
Yeah.
Excellent piece. Excellent
thank you.
Are you currently represented by any galleries? Obviously, you have this show, and you've done a number of shows in different galleries in and around Denver. Do you have any galleries that carries your work that you're represented by currently?
Well, I would say if there's anyone that I'm represented by right now, it's the Depot Art Gallery, the Littleton Fine Arts Guild.
Okay.
That's what I would consider my home base right now. I've been with a few different galleries in town over the years. I was with the latest one was Great Western Art Gallery. They were located on 15th and Curtis, and it was really a cool space. The owner was a really great guy. I was with him for 3 years, and for whatever reason, it didn't make a go. It was right there on Curtis, right where the Performing Arts Center exits, kind of the first floor of Brooks Towers. And I thought it was going to be a really great place to be. And it was really a nice gallery, but we never really made a go of it. Before that, I was with Sandra Phillips for about a year. It was before she had her gallery on Santa Fe. She had a gallery up in Basalt for about a year, and I showed my paintings with her. And before that, I was with a gallery called Anthony L. Ray Gallery. They were in Cherry Creek. But like I say, right now I'm with the Depot. I am going to try and pursue some galleries if I can to try and get representation.
Excellent.
And I'm hoping I'm very excited about the show with Bill at Bitfactory, and I'm hoping that I can get some buzz going with that.
Yeah, we do too. And I love what Bill does. I can never say enough about Bitfactory and the way he curates his shows. They're always spectacular.
He does a great job, and the way he hangs the shows, he's just so good at what he does. I mean,
it's so thoughtful.
It is. I feel so excited, and I'm going to take my pieces down. It's going to be in his hands at that point, and I have total faith and trust that he's going to put this collection together and make it even better than it is. He'll make the sum of the parts better than the actual parts, I think. So I'm really, really excited about it.
When's the show open?
July 16th.
And then how long does it run?
I think it runs through August 12th.
How many pieces are you going to have in it?
I think there's going to be about 25.
What are people going to see when they walk into Bitfactory on the 16th? What can they expect to see?
Boy, I hope they see. They'll see a couple really big paintings. You know how Bill has that main wall,
right when you walk in
the front door.
Yeah.
When I was in No Show 2 years ago, he let me have that wall for one of my paintings, and I am hoping that one of the big canvases will be up on that wall. And I'm hoping as people walk by that will pull them in, that they'll glance through the door and they'll want to open the door and go in. That's what I'm hoping. The way that Bill puts that, he's so great at putting that front room together. No matter what the show is that's in there, the way that he hangs it, it pulls you in. That front room he does kind of sparsely, and I think that's purposeful. He doesn't overfill the walls in that front room. And so I'm hoping that some of the bigger pieces will pull people in, and I hope that people feel like when they're looking at this work, they're going on a journey. They're truly hopping aboard the the magic bus.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, and I have to say, if any of you out there listening are hoping to go or planning on going, spend some time with these pieces, because I think that's the key. You just got to spend some time, look at them, really just look at the detail. And I can't wait, because I'm 99% sure I'll be in Denver one of those weeks. So I'm gonna come down there, and I'll definitely swing by the Bitfactory and spend some time there. And look at your work.
If you do, Wes, let me know. I would definitely want to go down there and meet you if you make it down to the gallery.
Yeah, I'll bring Todd. I'll drag Todd with me, kicking and screaming.
I can come too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping Todd will be there on Friday.
That's my plan.
Oh, sweet.
Beyond the show at Bitfactory, do you have any other shows that you have happening later on in this year?
I do. The Fine Arts Guild, they do their All Colorado show, which is really our keystone show every year. It's the big show where they take any artist. All you have to do to qualify is you just have to be a Colorado artist. It's open to all Colorado artists. And 2 years ago, obviously we didn't have it last year. 2 years ago, we had 175 artists enter. This year, they had 250 something artists, 900 pieces entered.
Wow.
So I got one of my pieces into that show. So I'm real excited about that show. And that opens on July 30th. I'll be debuting my newest New Orleans piece. It's actually on the easel behind me. And it's the other one that I was telling you about, the other scene from New Orleans. In fact, I can move it up to the camera if you guys want to take a quick look real quick.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's check it out.
Wow. That's amazing. It's too bad our listeners can't see it.
I know.
That's amazing. I love it.
That is phenomenal. I love it too.
Clover Grill on Bourbon Street. That is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's spectacular. Very nice, Jeff. Holy moly. Wes, you been saving your money?
Yeah. I gotta save some coin. So I'm going to be actually at a memorial service in Cheyenne on the 22nd. And I'm going to spend the night, Friday night in Greeley, Colorado, because you can't, because of Frontier Days. No hotels on Friday night.
No rooms.
I might try to talk my mom and my aunt to allow me to drive down to Bitfactory and see your work on that weekend.
Oh, that would be awesome, Wes.
And if I can pull that off, if I can get two ladies to say yes and my wife to approve, I will swing down that weekend. But
that would be awesome.
Yeah, and then I'll make damn sure. How long is that the Colorado Art Show going? That All Colorado.
The All Colorado show, that'll run a whole month too.
A month, okay.
Yeah.
So through August then. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to see that as well. That piece you have is amazing. And,
thank you.
Yeah. So you got to let us know when you get that up on your website, if you put it under newer work.
Okay.
And then we'll link it to for our listeners to see, because they're going to want to see this.
Okay. I'll email. I've already got a shot of it. I'll email that to you.
Good. Because we'd like to show our listeners, because we got a little sneak peek, people, and you're going to be blown away by this piece, I think.
Oh, all right. And it's interesting. This piece got its name just like the day before I entered it in the show. And it was a random thing. I didn't know what I was going to name this canvas. And I was zeroing in on a real small detail of it. It's actually the T-shirt of the main figure standing there smoking her cigarette. She's wearing a T-shirt that looks like the logo of the grill, the Clover Grill. And I went back and double checked my source material on that, and it doesn't say Clover Grill. If you read closely, it says Clever Girl. I've been working on this piece for quite a while, probably a couple years, and I had no idea that that's what her T-shirt said. So when I zeroed in and saw Clever Girl, that was the name of the canvas.
That's incredible. I love it. I
That's
love
awesome.
that.
Yes. Yes. Oh, it's a
my
beautiful
God.
piece.
Oh,
I can't wait
thank
to see it in
you.
person.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
There's a piece that I can see in the video to your right is
this one.
Yeah. What is
Yeah.
that piece?
This one is it's another San Francisco scene.
Okay. That looked interesting too.
This one is called California Street. I'm going to be putting this one in the Bitfactory show as well. And
Fantastic.
what's interesting is I did this piece a long time ago, but I've never showed it. So this is a painting that has never had its debut, but it's huge. I think this one is like 5 feet by 4 feet. So
holy cow!
Wow. So we'll see if Bill even wants to hang this one. This is a big monster.
Well, he has to now because you said it.
Yeah.
All right. We forced his hand.
Bill, you got to hang it, buddy. You got to hang it.
Oh, that's awesome. So there's going to be some pieces that no one has ever seen before.
Yes.
There's both old and new in the Bitfactory show.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the pieces that I'm going to show, I haven't showed for a really, really long time. So it hasn't seen the light of day for probably a couple of decades. It was a real early piece. It's probably on the website. It's called Heartbroken. And that's a piece that I haven't showed for a long time. So I'm going to bring that one back out. And for me, it's a real special painting.
Yeah, it's a piece with two men sitting on the side of the street.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that one.
Now that painting, this location is right across from the state capitol on
the new house,
Grant Street, the new hotel, New House. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I took the shot of these guys, I mean, it was back before digital cameras. I was using my old Nikon, and I actually talked to these guys for a while, and they were really cool. And they actually, the guy in the middle, the main guy, he actually, I think he kind of posed for me for the picture, and just sat there perfectly for me to take the shot. So it ended up being a real special painting for me.
So what's the story behind the name, if you don't mind?
I just felt like both these guys were really down on their luck. I just considered that they were heartbroken people.
Sure.
That's basically just simply where it came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That hotel is a really old hotel, and I think it has a pretty storied history.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because I literally was it last weekend? I was at an art opening on Colfax right around the corner from the hotel. Oh. And we were discussing the hotel, and
wow,
they've done some work to it. And I was like, as I was walking past, I'm like, all right, I got to go in and just kind of check it out because I have affinity for anything old.
Yeah.
So I walked in, and there was a guy that was sitting, beyond those doors at the front desk. And he was nice enough to let me in and let me kind of take a gander around. It's a spectacular hotel.
Huh.
And some cool old art on the walls.
Wow.
That have been painted on the walls. So next time you're in that area, you'll have to go in.
I might have to actually go in. Yeah. Wow. That would be fun to revisit it.
I love the telephone booth in the entrance there.
Yeah. And the old newspaper machine.
Yeah. Yep. I was having a conversation. I wanted to say that that at one point that and I might be wrong in saying this, but I wanted to say that when Tom Waits spent a little time in Denver, that was the hotel that he used to hang at.
I think he stayed there, and there used to be an old Fleabag hotel on 17th Street. I think where McCormick and Schmick's is.
Okay.
I think but I mean, back then, before Coors Field was put in, that part of downtown was pretty pretty shady. I mean,
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
it was rough. But yeah, I had heard that story too, that Tom Waits purposely stayed in scrappy old hotels wherever he would tour, which is so cool. I mean, I
Right?
love Tom Waits, and
I do too.
I mean, he's so great, and it kind of matches his music. It's so cool.
Yeah, if you think anybody's going to stay in the seedy part of town, it would be Tom Waits.
It would be
too.
Tom
He
Waits.
just has that whole aura about him, you know? That's
exactly. Boy, wouldn't you love to sit and have a beer with that guy?
Oh my
Oh my
God.
gosh.
He's amazing. I mean, his
He is.
storytelling is just amazing in his music.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to talk about before we leave off today?
Yeah. I guess the one thing that I hadn't really shared was me and my wife. If you guys would indulge me.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I just owe so much. I just owe everything to her with all of this. We met. The story of how we met was very unlikely. I grew up in West Denver. She was in high school. Her high school years, she was down in Littleton, way down. She went to Arapahoe High School. We met in Washington, D.C., of all places. We both went on, back then, what was called the Close-Up Foundation trips, where high school students would go to Washington, D.C., and they were interested in the government and politics. I had won a scholarship from my high school to go on that trip, and she won the scholarship at her high school to go on that trip. We lived 16 miles apart, and we met in Washington, D.C. We got to know each other we first got to really talk to each other and know each other at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, of all places. And that's where we met, and we started dating. It was just such an unlikely scenario that there's no other way we would have ever met. Our worlds were completely opposite. So from that point forward, we met and dated our whole junior and senior year, and then got married out of high school. And she's also a very creative person. She's focused on writing. She's published a children's book, and she got her teaching license. She taught in Denver public schools for about 8 years, and now she works at the library here in Littleton. She's hung in there with me all these years. We're going to be celebrating our 40th anniversary this November, and she's hung in there through this crazy ride that we've had. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Congratulations on almost 40 years of marriage. That's
thank you.
You don't hear that very often these days. So I think that's pretty special.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. And the goal is to take her to Paris for our 40th anniversary.
Nice.
I don't know if that's going to happen. We're in the lease. We're going to shoot for it next year.
Cool.
Because I got to go to Paris for work, but I wasn't able to take her with me. And there are a few riding a boat on the Seine. I never did because I was saving it for when we could go and do it together. So
that's amazing.
That sounds really wonderful.
Yeah.
I did go to the top of the Eiffel Tower. I suppose I should have saved that, but
I'll tell you what. So I don't know how it was when you went there, but I traveled with a couple buddies. I traveled all over Europe, and Paris was one of those places we went. And there's nothing more romantic than standing at the top of the Eiffel Tower, looking over the city of Paris at night.
Yeah.
But being with two other dudes, not so romantic.
Not so romantic. Exactly.
Take your wife, take your girlfriend, and experience it firsthand. But yeah, that's a wonderful experience.
And Todd and I are going to have a very special moment when we go to the Eiffel Tower. It'll be special. Just the two of us.
Wives, dude.
Huh?
We're taking our wives.
Oh, I was trying to be romantic for my buddy Todd.
I might casually reach over and hold your hand, but There's not going to be any kissing.
No. Okay. I'll draw the line there. We'll call it drawn.
You missed your opportunity.
That sounds like a story for a later episode.
I promised myself that I ever went back. I'm taking, at that time I was a single guy, but I promised myself that next time I went, I would be with the love of my life. And as much as I love you, I'm taking my wife.
Man, I hope you get that trip for Jeff.
Oh, really thank you.
Yeah, I hope you do. We're rooting for you.
Oh, thanks.
So take a selfie up there with you and your wife, or on the boat.
I will. On the boat, definitely.
Yeah.
Going under that bridge, although there's a bridge in kind of behind Notre Dame where people would put the
padlocks.
Put the padlocks on. They've taken away the padlocks, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because I saw that bridge a couple times and I kept thinking, I want to bring my wife here so we can put a padlock on there, but can't do it anymore.
You can do it. Just do it quick and then run.
Take a picture and run.
So is that a recent development with the whole padlock thing?
I think so. Yeah, I think it got too heavy, and they removed them all, unfortunately.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah,
that was a pretty cool thing, I thought too.
It really was. It was very special, and the side of it you'd be like, holy moly! The whole bridge is covered in locks.
That's crazy.
Any advice that you could pass on to aspiring artists, young artists that want to have a art life and art?
I would. My advice, and I've talked to some students at the Rocky Mountain College of Art and Design. I've done a few, little seminars there, and my advice to them, and unfortunately, it seemed like this went over like a lead balloon. What I'm going to probably say right now. I told all of them, I said, go into it for only one reason. Go into it for the love of doing the work, for the love of the work. If you're motivated by anything else, the work is not going to happen. It's going to suffer. And I've been through junctures in my career where I've listened to gallery owners on how to approach my work and changed my approach temporarily based on their advice, and the work suffered. So, and in my mind's eye, I was wanting to sell paintings and make money, and that was motivating me to compromise. So I would say love the work and do it only for that reason. There may be people that don't agree with that, but that's what I feel. That's what I believe in. And do it from the heart, not from the head. Do it from the heart, always. And it's just a pretty simple thought.
That's great advice for anybody, no matter if you're creative and an artist or a musician or whatever.
Exactly.
Accountant, do something for the heart of it because you love numbers.
Yeah.
No, that's great advice. I love that.
Fantastic advice.
Cool.
Thank you so much for spending a few hours of your time today with us. We really appreciate it. Time is the most precious thing. I say this all the time. and we do. We really appreciate it when someone's willing to sit down with us and talk about what they do and their journey and how they go about creating beautiful works.
Oh, well, thank you, Todd and Wes, and thank you for taking the time and serving your fellow artists in this way. It makes a huge difference, and I really appreciate you taking the time for me today. This has been a blast.
Yeah. And I look forward to coming and seeing your work and hopefully meeting you in person. And that'll be
that'd be great, Wes.
Yeah.
I'll send you an email and if you make it down to Denver, I will go. I want to be up there to meet you at the gallery.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right.
As always, all of Jeff's information will be in this week's episode notes for the Tenet podcast. I'm Todd Pearson.
And I'm Wes Brown.
Have a great week.